Southeast Texas, we'll take an extended look at your forecast over the next 7 days. A detailed look is what I'm trying to say. And didn't see much across Southeast Texas across the area this afternoon as far as shower and thunderstorm activity. And that's because we had high pressure in charge. And we'll get to that in just a minute. And just a few hours from the official beginning of the summer season, 9:42 p.m., the summer solstice takes place. Otherwise, across our area, look at all the sun that we saw today. Why is that occurring? Well, we have high pressure. Look at the sun. Sinking air. There's dry air at 700 millibars, which is around, about 10,000 feet up in the atmosphere. So when that dry air develops because of high pressure that's over our region, it causes sinking air. And remember, clouds like to build upwards, but if you have large-scale motion mashing down those clouds, you get more sun than clouds, and that's what high pressure brings, and that's what we saw today. It also limits shower and thunderstorm activity. Warm temperatures today, no records, and we don't really expect anything like that over the next 7 days. What we do expect is that very low rain chances are expected tomorrow. Maybe a little better chance of rain and thunderstorm activity coming up on Sunday, but still, we're only talking about a 20% coverage. So it looks like the weekend is going to just be hot and humid. We see a pattern change as we head towards late Sunday into Monday. The high that brought us and will bring us the hot, humid, dry weather conditions will slowly move away, and the flow around it will start bringing in higher amounts of moisture and disturbances, and that will improve rain chances across Southeast Texas. Otherwise, on your allergy report, we've got moderate levels of weed and also grass pollen. Certainly not as bad as was a couple days ago, but as you can see, mold is fairly low and no tree pollen being reported today. So tomorrow morning, we expect about 76 in the lakes area, 77 to about 81, your low temperatures in the morning. These are actual temperatures as what we're forecasting. And then tomorrow I'll go 93 in Beaumont, 91 in Port Arthur, and about 95 up in the lakes area. Again, and this is a kind of a mix of modeling, but I don't think we'll get to 97. I think about 95 seems reasonable up in the lakes area, and it looks like very low rain chances. Otherwise, as I said, only a 5% coverage of showers in Southeast Texas, or at least in the triangle. We'll go with a high of 93 degrees, and of course that'll give us a heat index of about 100. South winds at 3 to 12 miles an hour expected. And again, it looks like the chance of rain will be mainly in the morning, as we may see some coastal showers try to work in off the Gulf in the triangle. And it looks like a hot, humid, dry afternoon with highs around 93, maybe 94, probably 93. Otherwise, up in the lakes area, it's going to take a while for those showers to move north towards you. So we'll go with about a 10% coverage of late afternoon showers and storms, highs around 95. And we do expect south to southwest winds at 5 to 12 miles an hour. So again, not the hottest day ever, but certainly a hot afternoon across the lakes area. So again, mainly dry on Saturday. Sunday, we're going to go with that 20% coverage of showers and thunderstorms for your weekend, and lows will be in the mid-70s, highs in the low to mid-90s across the region. Otherwise, we have a text, and it says, the humidity has been awful. When will I be able to straighten my hair, meaning lower humidity? Well, that's not going to happen anytime soon unless you're indoors, because we're in summertime, so I don't see any change as far as that goes. You need a front to bring in drier air. Right now, it's pretty straightforward. We're looking at south flow off the Gulf, and we're looking at mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies as temperatures are in the middle to upper 80s and lower 90s on the Pro Roofing Concepts satellite and radar loop. And again, I don't expect much coming up tomorrow across Southeast Texas, as heat indices in the 90s to lower 100s is what it feels like, and a similar forecast coming up for tomorrow. Across the state, looking at high pressure that has developed up into southern Arkansas, and that high is ridging down into our area, and that is causing sinking air, and that's why we have that southeast flow off the Gulf. So the weather is going to be coming off the Gulf now as we head through the next week. And you can see the outer periphery. There's the ring of fire. This is the monsoonal flow that everybody talks about. As moisture comes off the Pacific and out of Mexico. That's why they see that over towards Albuquerque and Santa Fe. So that's the extent of the edge of the outer high. Close into the core of the high, that's why we're seeing sinking air and also lots of sun across the area. And you can see on water vapor, very dry air. Look at your scale. This is very low moisture, very dry air. As you go to the greens and blues, that's increasing moisture. So this dry air in the mid-levels of the atmosphere has settled over our area caused by that high. That's why we're looking at lots of sun and very little chance of rain and thunderstorm activity. We didn't see much at all today, just a couple of showers in the triangle, certainly not a 20% coverage. And as you can see, tonight will be warm and humid. No records are expected, but certainly well above normal. We should see normally about 74 in Beaumont this time of year. We're going to go 77 again in Beaumont. And again, this is modeling. I think it's doing a reasonable job. We'll go 79 in Orange, and my forecast calls for 81 in Port Arthur. We'll go 76 up in the Lakes area with generally mostly clear skies. I think the clouds are a little bit overdone here on this particular model. Otherwise, mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies are expected tomorrow across southeast Texas. And I think highs will get into the lower 90s in the triangle and into the mid 90s north of I-10 up towards Silsbee, Kirbyville, and up towards the Lakes area. So as you can see, no rain on that. So the high, as I said, has developed and moved off towards Arkansas. And again, the flow around it is in a clockwise fashion. So again, we'll be focusing on what happens out in the Gulf. Now, this is not going to be no tropical development is expected. But what we are expecting is high pressure will weaken over us and move over towards the mid-Atlantic, where they will likely see triple-digit heat over towards D.C. and back over towards New York. And if you get on social media, you'll certainly know about all that. But again, we'll be watching a weak disturbance. This is what we call an inverted trough. Remember, a normal trough of low pressure like what we see in the wintertime. Let me get over here and draw a little bit. A normal trough of low pressure does something like this, okay? That's a trough of low pressure. That's what brings cold fronts through our area. So an inverted trough is like this. This is an inverted trough, and that's what we're seeing here as we work on into, say, Monday of next week. It's weak. It's not terribly strong. We get these during the summertime a lot. That's an inverted trough. And that trough of low pressure is going to bring in more moisture and favorable winds and disturbances. You can see the disturbances. Well, that is a disturbance. You can see these disturbances are going to be associated with this trough of low pressure. Then you can also see this green. This green tells us that there's moisture in the atmosphere. Remember, today we've got dry air at 10,000 feet. That's why we got sun. That's why we have little in the way of rainfall. That's not going to be the case as we head towards Wednesday and Thursday. We're going to bring this green and moisture back into the area, and that will likely give us more in the way of cloud cover and the potential for producing showers and thunderstorms across southeast Texas as we work on into, especially Wednesday on the backside of this trough, into Thursday. So this will continue to move off towards the west. We do not expect any development with it. And late Tuesday, it'll be in the northwest Gulf. Again, you can see how this is kind of an inverted trough of low pressure. It's not like a normal trough. We get these a lot during the summertime. This is a lot of these tropical waves that are similar to this. And again, look at all the moisture and associated with that trough. Lots of moisture pours into the area, pretty high amounts of moisture, and that would lead to a better chance of shower and thunderstorm activity on the backside of this trough coming up on Wednesday and into Thursday of next week, because the high has moved over towards our southeast. That is not a good position for it to be in as far as the tropics go, but hopefully this will change over the next few days, because there's nothing on the playing field. We don't really expect anything for the next several days, probably the end of the month as far as the tropics go. So we're good right now, but this will come on in, and that will enhance rainfall as we work on into Wednesday and Thursday especially. Speaking of the tropics, we are looking good. There's nothing organized in the Gulf or in the Caribbean, and we don't really expect anything as far as that goes over the next, say, 7 to 10 days. And that would likely continue right on through the July 4th weekend. So just don't see anything right now. And again, I've said this many times before, we don't worry about the eastern Atlantic. It's close in off the southeast coast, the Gulf, and the Caribbean this time of year that we watch for any tropical development. Just don't see that. A lot of times you get activity developing around the gyre, the Central American gyre, but right now modeling one model that was trying to develop something that we didn't believe has backed off on that. So we're in good shape as far as the next probably 10 to 14 days. On the Gulf tomorrow, looking at slightly choppy seas around 2 feet tomorrow and a south wind at 10 knots, water temperature 87 degrees. High tides at Sabine Pass are at 12:24 a.m. and 10:34 p.m. Sunrise 6:14 a.m. Sunset at 8:20 p.m. Our forecast on the on San Rayburn tomorrow looks good. Again, maybe an isolated late day shower or thunderstorm as the activity tries to work in from the south. It'll be late, probably after 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that you see these very isolated showers or thunderstorms. Partly cloudy skies. High should be in the mid 90s, so that'll give you a heat index about 101 tomorrow afternoon. The current pool is at 163.53 feet, and you'll see a south to southwest wind. As we take down that banner so that everybody can see the temperatures in Port Arthur. Thank you so much, Denise. Appreciate it. Mid 70s for low temperatures up in the lakes and into the mid to upper 70s, lower 80s in the triangle. Again, we should be about 74 this time of year. It's a little bit above normal. South winds will become calm as we head towards the morning hours. And then for tomorrow, we'll go partly cloudy and maybe a 5% coverage in the morning here in the triangle. That weak activity works towards the north as we work on through the afternoon, and it may get to maybe a 10% coverage up in the lakes area tomorrow afternoon. So it looks like partly cloudy skies, south winds at 3 to 12 miles an hour. So again, as I was saying, with the combination of heat and humidity, should see triple digits or pretty close to that. Certainly the upper 90s is what it'll feel like tomorrow afternoon. And a reminder, if you're going to be on the water or something of that nature, make sure everybody has a life preserver, but also don't forget to use a sunscreen. On your weather impact 7-day forecast, again, a 5% coverage. That's less than a 10% coverage expected coming up on Saturday here in Beaumont. We'll go with a 20% coverage on Sunday. Again, the high will be in the process of working out of the area or out of the region and heading towards D.C., and we're expecting partly cloudy skies. Then Monday and Tuesday, we start to see a little bit more moisture at around 10,000 feet. And that will begin allowing us, because we're not going to be capped, so there's going to be instability. So we've got instability, we've got moisture, then we need something to kick it off. Probably a weak sea breeze at best, no more than a 30 to 40% coverage at this time coming up Monday and Tuesday. Notice how the high temperatures, though, start coming down because of the increased cloud cover and the threat for rainfall. Then that trough of low pressure, that inverted trough coming out of the Gulf Tuesday night will pass us, move ashore, and that will bring us to a south wind off the Gulf as we head towards the 10,000 foot level, and that will be much more conducive than the easterly winds at 10,000 feet on Monday and Tuesday. So we'll go with a 60, maybe 70% coverage on Wednesday, higher than normal rain chances certainly on Thursday. And look at those highs, mid to upper 80s. Certainly could see the potential for some surprises, and heavy rainfall is certainly possible in this kind of scenario. Then as that all moves further to the north, we'll go with about a 30% coverage by next Friday, with highs rebounding back to around 90 degrees. Again, this is normally what we see as far as summertime. These inverted troughs bring us our best chances of rain and thunderstorm activity rather than the sea breeze. So as far as rainfall, I'm going to show you the European, because I want you to see the worst case